Many people ask me about moderators. This is actually becoming a more common occurrence. And I just want to say that Mark Anthony and Candy Cow are in the minority. There are more and more people that are getting tired of moderators' bullcrap. And it's not so much that people are pro-moderator as they are just ambivalent. They figure it doesn't affect them, or there's nothing that can be done about it. They are the lumpen proletariat, as with everything else. They're just useless. And because they are useless, we cannot look to them as allies, we cannot look to them as victims that need our sympathy, and we can't even really look at them as enemies. They are just a byproduct. They are part of the environment, and what happens to them, happens to them. Now, getting that out of the way, let's talk about why moderators are bad, because I don't feel like saying this over and over again. You know, there are a multitude of reasons: technological, psychological, spiritual, political, but let's get to the gist of it. The first reason is because it's wrong on a moral level. There's many moral reasons as to why, and I can get into the lawful arguments in a moment. You know, when a moderator deletes your post, that's annoying. But if they're so worried about the content in question, as with Mark Anthony says about my content, why do you need to ban the person just to delete the content? Yes, I'll be annoyed with you if you delete my videos, but if you're going to argue from the standpoint of it's about the content, then argue for the content. Argue the video itself, not the person that's uploading the video. There would be no reason to ban people if it's just about the video itself. And as much as they seem to have all the time in the world to delete everybody's videos, it clearly just isn't about the content. If it were, why can Cannibal Holocaust, unedited and in its entirety, be uploaded? Nothing is done about it. But Jim Prophet mentions the Voldemort of YouTube, and all of a sudden, you know, the video gets taken down, get a strike, possibly get the account locked down. It doesn't make sense, and that's the thing. It doesn't have to make sense, because they figure they're the abusers, you're the victim, you're going to deal with it. That's all it comes down to. It's not about the content. If it was about the content, there would be a lot more people on YouTube with a lot more subscriber base that would not be getting banned. They would not need partnership to protect themselves from getting banned. It's not about the content. Now, moving on from the content argument, let's move on to the attack on the personal person. Don't tell me I don't have a right to say the things I say about moderators, because they attack me individually. They attack many other people too, and that's a bad thing. But they have provoked me, and I have the right to defend myself. They are lucky that I only defend myself with words and not actions. As much as Mark Anthony and Candy Cow would like to believe that I am breaking some kind of law, I am not. I told you before, I'm a paralegal. I know the law. And lawfully, they are the antagonists. Lawfully, if I were to actually do something violent to them, they would still be at fault because they provoked me. They initiated the violence that resulted in me defending myself. If somebody points a gun at you, you have the right to point a gun back. It's that simple. Any judge, any jury, any attorney will say the same thing. They should not have pointed the gun of banning and threatening to ban and censorship and abuse and harassment if they were not willing to deal with the consequences of somebody going the extra mile and making sure they couldn't do that to them anymore. So no, they do not have the right to individually attack people if they're so worried about the content of their website. If they're worried about the integrity of their website, worry about the integrity of the website. Keep it functional. Keep it colorful. Keep people coming back for more. But you do not attack individuals. When you do, they have the right to be violent toward you. So, now that we've covered some lawful and philosophical aspects of it, let's also talk about how moderators don't just affect one or two people. I am not the only person that gets attacked on YouTube. I seem to have my own particular way of getting attacked on YouTube. I notice only certain videos where I mention certain people seem to get me attacked on YouTube, but everybody gets banned from YouTube. Imagine for a moment, who amongst you has not been banned from YouTube at some point? Even if you're a major YouTuber, such as Amazing Atheist, or PewDiePie, or Shane Dawson, or Onision, or something. It doesn't happen. There is not a single person on YouTube or pretty much anywhere on the internet that has not been banned at some point over some menial, petty reason. And that's because these people that are behind the moderator staff are menial, petty people. They are just hateful. They are just murderous, despicable vermin that don't think like you and I do. They think in terms of, I want to hurt this other person to make myself feel better. Because if they did not think like that, why would they do the things that they do? Their actions reflect their philosophy and their beliefs. So, if you want to attack somebody, go attack the moderators. Oh, but wait, they don't make a name or face for themselves, which is another thing. Nobody is protected under the law that does not have some form of ego. If you are not willing to give yourself a name and a face, you do not have recognition under the law. I cannot be held accountable for murdering imaginary people. Bang, bang, I just shot an imaginary invisible person. Is that invisible person's family going to be able to sue me now? No, because they're all invisible and imaginary. The same thing happens with moderators. They are not people. They are an institution. They are a make-believe system that is ran by people, that is organized by people, but they are not people in and of themselves. They are attacking people, so lawfully we have the right to use the law against them, but they themselves are not people because they refuse to validate themselves as people. Moderators are not so-and-so. They are not Voldemort. They are not he who shall not be named. They are not amazing atheists. They are merely moderators. And they do that on purpose. Because if they were to be people, then they would have people responsibilities. They would have to be accountable in the same way a person would. Then they would be the provocateurs. Then they would be the attackers, the antagonists. So they cannot afford to be people. But because they are not people, we should take advantage of that lawfully and do whatever the fuck we want to them. So, getting those concepts out of the way, what I'm left with is, why do we put up with it? They're not lawfully people. They're obviously just doing it to be antagonists and to be mean and hateful and disturb us. They have no right to do what they do. They have no moral justification to do what they do. So, why do we put up with it? We can do whatever we want to them, whether that be terrorism, or whether that be lawsuits, frivolous lawsuits as some would call it, or whatever. We can literally do anything to them, because they have gone above and beyond to just be evil and to just be fictional. So if they're an evil and fictional thing, or at least they want to be, treat them as such. It's just that simple. Now, really the only argument comes down to is Jim Profit is so bad. What does anything I upload matter to you? Does it really affect you? Does my content in any way make you look bad? Make YouTube look bad? No. It makes me look bad. It's on me, the content I upload. So, what the fuck do you care? If you don't like my content, don't watch it. If you can go the extra mile and say I'm an asshole, and tell all your friends and family that I'm an asshole. I don't care. But the moment you think that you can tell me what I can and cannot say, where I can and cannot go, and what I can and cannot do, we're going to have a problem, both lawfully and physically. I will make it into a problem. So, why is it that YouTube seems to think that it is their responsibility to eliminate all these people who they deem bad for YouTube, but yet they do all the things they do that is actually bad for YouTube? The so-called upgrades that make things worse.